Despite the fact that the PS5 has been out for almost 5 years, I still get a lot of questions about whether or not the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 4 Pro is worthwhile picking up in 2025. And I think this video will probably answer the questions. Look, I'm not doubting that the PS5 is a great console. Hell, I own one. But I also want to say I feel like if you're just kind of a person on a budget, or if you're the type of person that plays a certain type of game, yeah, I think a PS4 is a great option, in particular the PS4 Pro even, but you maybe be okay with just a PS4 if you don't care about 4K or any of that stuff and you're just looking for some games to play. A lot of online games like Fortnite, Minecraft, Apex Legends, these are all games that are still regularly updated on the PlayStation 4. Even if you like Call of Duty, those games are still coming out on PlayStation 4 as well. I want to get into it, and I want to tell you why I think the PS4 is still a great buy, even in 2025. So please like the video and stick around. So I'll be honest, I was trying to do some games that were unique. They aren't exclusive for the most part, but I wanted to kick things off with Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition, one of my all-time favorite games. Now, if you've never played this game, you owe it to yourself to pick it up and try it out. The protagonist is awesome. The Definitive Edition even comes with 2 DLCs. It's a lot of fun, playing as a cop and then also kind of infiltrating an organization and playing in kind of the Yakuza as well. So there's dual kind of things going on at the same time. I think the game still looks good. It plays great, which is still the most important part. And the story itself is just one that you get lost in. And in fact, I like this game so much. I beat the game on Xbox 360. I beat the Definitive Edition on Xbox One. I beat the game on PlayStation 3. I beat the Definitive Edition on PlayStation 4. So that should tell you how much I really enjoy the game. And you might go, oh, well, why play the different versions? There's different set of trophies, different set of achievements depending on the version of the game you're playing. And, again, I think originally when I played the game, I didn't play through the DLC, and there's some pretty significant DLC to be found here, and it's a fun DLC as well, like crazy over-the-top stuff. If you really, really like these type of games, and again, I don't really know that there's much that's exactly like this, but it's still just a blast to play through. So yeah, Definitive Edition, great game, give it a shot. So next up, I wanted to talk a bit about Street Fighter V, which happens to be a PlayStation 4 console exclusive. Although the game didn't launch in the best state back in the day, it is now one of the best fighting games that you can play. It's one of the more complete fighting games that you can play, and I actually like the art style to this a tremendous amount. I get it. Like, for me anyway, I think the fact that this game was console exclusive, much like Killer Instinct was console exclusive to Xbox One, I think those help to make a better game. There's just something about it. I know, like, everybody thinks, or a lot of people think everybody should be able to play every game, but I actually, as a console owner, I always like the fact that each console has its own kind of games that take advantage of what they're doing and what they're offering, and they can more kind of take advantage of that and put out a better game. And I think that's what we get here. Like, this game right now is a tremendous game. I actually like this game much better than the newer one. In my opinion, it's much better than Street Fighter 6. This is just more a type of a game that it'll appeal to you if you're an old school Street Fighter fan. Like, I just really love the different modes that it offers and the campaigns and things like that. So if you've never given this a try, pick it up. It's pretty cheap and looks great, plays even better on the PlayStation 4. So the PS4 had a lot of interesting titles, and let's be real, it's still getting titles even in 2025. But Gravity Rush Remastered was a game that I believe launched first on the PlayStation Vita, and then they ported it to the PlayStation 4 in a remastered version. Now, this is a very interesting game, and I found it to be a little bit difficult to get the hang of at first, and then you really start to get the flow of it because of the way the gravity system works in the game itself. It's got a very interesting story. It's got a very cool art style. Like, I feel like this art style will make this game like playable forever. It's sort of like Zelda Wind Waker. A lot of people kind of make fun of that or whatever. They didn't like it at the time. They thought it was like very, very childish or cartoony. But here we are, 20 years later, and people love that game and the art style still holds up. I think it's probably, an art style not for everything, but certain games like this for sure really hold up well. It looks good, it plays good, and once you get past that barrier of entry where you're learning the controls, you'll probably really, really enjoy it. This is definitely a fun one that I highly recommend on the PlayStation 4. Next up is a fun one, Wipeout Omega Collection. And what's cool about this is, if you happen to have the PlayStation VR, the first one, which is incredibly cheap. Yeah, I know it's not the best VR you can get, and it uses the Move controllers and can be a hassle or whatever, but it's still a fun VR setup, and it has stuff like this that works with the VR, so I find that to be incredible. Now listen, I'll be the first one to say, don't judge my gameplay. This was the first time I've played this game in a long time, but it just is such a great series of games to play through, and so much fun. Sort of reminds me of the F-Zero games back on the Nintendo platforms back in the day. So yeah, if you like F-Zero, if you want something that actually looks good, and listen, this collection, these games look good. Look at this game. It looks great. And it actually handles surprisingly well, too. So, yeah, if you're looking for something to play on a PS4 that is interesting, maybe a little bit different, I would highly suggest the Wipeout Omega Collection. It's definitely well worth your time. And, again, it's something a little bit unexpected, a little bit different. Dare you say even a bit of a hidden gem, mind you, I don't see a lot of people talking about this series anymore, but it's definitely one that should be up there. So I had mentioned that this was a little bit different list, and to be honest with you, I had thought maybe that this would be a hidden gems list or something in between, but why not do a little bit of both, some interesting titles, and Ghostbusters Remastered. Listen, I grew up with Ghostbusters, right? No doubt about it. Ghostbusters is absolutely amazing, and I loved the movies as a kid, and the games I absolutely love all of them. And it's just one of those things that they remade it, or they remastered it, excuse me, and I played through that. This is again one of those games on this list where it just belongs on the list, and the reason is quite simple, because the gameplay is great, it looks great, it's got a great story. In many ways, this is really the third film, because all the Ghostbusters are in it, the original ones, even Egon, because it was before Harold Ramis passed away. But what's great about it is it holds up incredibly well. I beat this game on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4. So again, it just goes to show you how much I love this game, and it's not a game that takes incredibly long amounts of time to beat. You can probably finish it in 15 hours or less, which I find to be a perfect time for a game like this. So when I was booting this game up to play, which is Infamous First Light, I was surprised by how good it looks. Now, playing it on a PlayStation 4 Pro like I am, yeah, it maybe has a little bit more horsepower, but the game also looks great on a standard PS4. Sucker Punch are just wizards, because Ghost of Tsushima is also just like a stunningly gorgeous game, but you can see they really went all out with like the neon and all that kind of stuff. This is a standalone title, right? So everybody knows Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Infamous Second Son. This came out after Second Son. It was a standalone title called First Light. I'm not sure if there's a physical version available, but the digital, I think, is still available. And the game is self-contained, is fun. You can beat it in about 8 hours. It sort of reminds me of like Miles Morales, or those games that Sony has put out that are kind of slimmed down versions of the game. But yeah, for what it is, I find it to be a fantastic game. The neon setting, the lights, all that kind of stuff, really well done, just graphically, and the gameplay just flows so well. Hard to believe that this came out, a decade ago or whatever, and it's just so well done, and the powers are fun, and the game is fun to kind of go through and play. Trust me, if you come across this or you want to play it, absolutely recommend it. So, Godzilla, interesting game, came out on the PlayStation 4. Not a lot of people talk about it. I think that the game is fun, though. Like, I started playing it, and I didn't have a lot of time invested in it. So when I'm looking through my PlayStation library, and I'm like, Godzilla, interesting. Now, this game is expensive physically. I'm not sure if it's available digitally, but it might be. And I just happen to have it, and so I was like, I gotta put this in my video because I'm having a blast with this. Like, I'm playing the game, and it's not, I mean, it doesn't look great or anything like that, but you're Godzilla, and you've got these powers, and you can like destroy things and destroy the whole city, and out of nowhere Mothra comes out and attacks me. It's crazy, and I was just having such a fun time with it. I thought I would include it into this video, and it's also a game that I have not put in any of my other PlayStation videos. So, I try to keep things fresh and original, and I'm just having such a good time with it. And so basically, yeah, Godzilla, if you come across this game, well worth it. If you don't, that's okay too. Like that's the good thing about these things. It could be our opinions and things like that, and that's what I love about it. But yeah, don't sleep on this game. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so next up is Terminator Resistance. I know what you're thinking. Oh, maybe you've never heard of this game, but if you haven't, you might want to give it a look. This game came out on PS4. It actually was upgraded on PS5 as well. It's made by the same company that did the RoboCop game recently, and that RoboCop game is absolutely phenomenal because they pay attention to the source material, and it's the same with this Terminator game. They did such a good job with it. It looks great. It plays great. If you're a fan of Terminator, it's got a little Easter eggs here and there. But overall, it's just a fun story to kind of play through, and a really good game to kind of play through as well. Like I said, not a lot of people talk about this game. I kind of did a hybrid video, trying to introduce people to some games maybe they didn't know about. Obviously it's not a list that people would normally think about, but to me, yeah, I think this is a good list, and these are some awesome games. Like Terminator Resistance is one of those hidden gems that I feel like most people should play. Even if you're not a Terminator fan, it's still a quality first-person game with robots and stuff. So yeah, definitely give it a try. Next up is Kena Bridge of Spirits, a very cool game, and as you can tell, this game's available on PlayStation 5 as well, and Xbox, and PC, of course, but this game looks like a Pixar movie, right? And it's just such an interesting game because it's one of the few games where picking how to play it, like difficulty-wise, changes the game completely. So if you just want kind of an easy, really good story, it's going to have some challenging puzzles, I think, but then yeah, you can get that. If you want something that's as hard as Dark Souls, then yeah, you can have that too. Depends on how you want to play it. For me, I just kind of played it on normal. I had a really good experience with it. It's got a great story, and I think this was the studio's first game, right? And for that, and for it to be such a well-received game and such a well-put-together and well-polished game, I think that's phenomenal. So, yeah, I highly recommend it, Kena. If you've never played it, go ahead and give it a try. Awesome stuff. And if you do try it, let me know what you think. I always love hearing from the people that pick up games from my recommendation. And last on my list is Detroit Become Human. This is a game that has become one of my favorite games. It's one of the games that you can't put down. There's so many different outcomes and endings that you can have, and it's one of those, a lot of people like to compare it to like the Telltale games and things like that. It's not as close-ended as those, right? Like those games tend to not have choices that matter as much. This game, you can have entire characters live throughout the whole thing or die in the first act, right? And everything's a branching path. Every choice matters, and I love those type of games. This game, I went and I played through it back to back to back, and got different things every time and did different choices every time. And so if that appeals to you, then you definitely want to give it a chance and play it. Obviously, I think we all have different ideas on what appeals to us. The gameplay on this isn't as much of in the forefront as some games, but the story and everything that comes around that is still incredible. And so that's why, to me anyway, I always highly recommend Detroit Become Human. So, yes, I do recommend the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro to gamers in 2025, especially if you're not interested in like some of the newer exclusives like Spider-Man 2, because obviously those games are going to be on PlayStation 5 only to start with, and so they're not going to be on the PS4. You know, that pretty much has run its course, but you're still getting the next Call of Duty, the next Madden, Minecraft is still updating, Roblox is updating, Fortnite is still there, Apex Legends. So if you are on a budget and you just want a way to play some great games or maybe pick up some games you hadn't heard of before, I still think the PS4 is very viable. And yeah, the PS5 does play all the PS4 games and things like that. Great console in and of itself. Personally, I don't know if there is enough exclusive content there or content to say, hey, go ahead and spend $500-$700 on this thing, you know, but to each their own. You know, if you have the disposable income to do that, more power to you. I think that's a great console too, but the PS4 is still a great console and the games are super cheap for it right now. So absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'll catch you next time. Remember to like the video and subscribe. Game on, my friends. Game on.